What's going on, everybody? My name is Manatui, and today I'm just bringing you guys the pool play matches from the Summer Madness tournament that went on a little while ago. I'm a little bit late on uploading this, but I was relatively busy with the PPL starting up, getting ready to go back to school and whatnot, so hopefully you guys can forgive me. But essentially what this was I was in the All-Star bracket, I believe All-Star Gold, or whatever it's called, where a bunch of different representatives from a bunch of different leagues were thrown together in sort of like an all-star type tournament. Like, for example, myself, Shoddy, and Shroomraver. Oh, and maybe, am I forgetting of something else? I think Slyro as well. Was it Slyro? I think it was Slyro as well, who were representing PPL Division 1. In Division 2, we had Kyle, K to the 2, Amazing Chi, Evelyn, H2O Drink It, and Ruby Marrow representing Division 2. The GBA had representatives. A lot of different leagues had representatives. If you want more information on what leagues participated, who represented each league, definitely check out the TokenMinorities YouTube channel, or the TokenMinorities Twitter even. All the information should still be there as well. In fact, the hype video that I put out a little while ago, just for the kind of like the announcement of the stream, was that had all of the teams and team names on it and whatnot, and all the participants. So with that out of the way, let's now just get into real quick. I'm just going to go over what I drafted. Each person, each coach could draft 8 mons. The 8 mons I decided to select were, you see 6 of them now: Mammothline, Latias, Talonflame, Roserade, Mega Blastoise, Spiritomb, and then not on screen currently, I also drafted Klefki and Blissey. Spoiler alert, Blissey I never ended up using out of all of the games that I ended up playing, so that was kind of funny. But regardless, let us just get into this matchup. This matchup was originally versus Robin, who was representing, I believe, the GPC? Maybe it was the NPL? I don't remember exactly, I apologize. But he ended up having to sub out for Turboblaze 6 here. I apologize, my throat is a little bit weak, it's pretty late. So building for this team, I instantly knew that this was not going to be super easy, because Sand Offense plus Zard Watt, first of all, his team's incredible on its own. Like, look at this team of 6. This is a full-on OU team, bar, like, Suicune and Sylveon. Sylveon might be brought back up to OU relatively soon, and then Suicune is just really, really good in general. And I forget the other 2 that he did not bring, but Sand Offense versus my team is very scary, plus Zard Y is just very scary. Like, this is just a really, really, really well-constructed team. Like, he's got very good bulk, very good offense set up. He's got everything pretty much, but it doesn't mean we're out of it. I built a team with Life Orb, Stealth Rocking Mammothline that can definitely put in a lot of work. It hurts his team quite a bit. We have a bulky Latias, which I'm expecting to put in some work. It's Skill Swap so that he can't pursue, or it's Reflect type so that he can't pursue me with the Tyranitar. It's Reflect type with Toxic, Roost, Reflect type, and then I believe Psyshock. Yeah, Psyshock, I believe. And then we have a Sharpie Talonflame with just Brave Bird as its attacking move. I didn't feel the need for Flare Blitz. Yes, he has an Excadrill, but in the sand he doesn't outspeed me anyway. And if I'm predicting that to switch in, I can hit it with a Will-O-Wisp. And Will-O-Wisp was just better for his team in general, especially to hit things like the Tyranitar. That would have been very important. Then we have here a Miracle Seed offensive Roserade with Hidden Power Rock, though I'm Natural Cure and not Technician, because this is my best switch into the Suicune. I wanted to be able to take Scalds very easily and then fire back hits. If I get burnt, I can switch out, get rid of the burn. So that is why I'm Natural Cure over Technician. And then we have Mega Blastoise, just standard offensive Mega Blastoise, which also puts in some good work onto his team. It 2-KOs everything bar Sylveon and Suicune, which is really nice. And then we have a physically defensive Spiritomb meant to kind of just take hits from things as well as just burn things in general, because nothing really wants to switch in on this bar, possibly the Zard Y. But regardless, let us just get into the game. I really do not remember this game super well, but hopefully I'll be able to deal with it. Here, I lead with my Roserade. Zard outspeeds me if he is timid, so I don't want to go for the Hidden Power Rock. I'm just going to go right into my Latias, which will be able to take any hit from this thing very easily. He actually goes for Solar Beam, which I tank very nicely. And now I am just going to go right for the Toxic, of course, as he actually sends in his Suicune, which is really nice, because being able to status this thing is nice. If it has Rest, it's forced to go for it at some point relatively soon. And here, I decide to hard switch out into my Roserade. It's in the sun. Scald will do absolutely nothing. He actually goes for Toxic, which is even better for me. And predicting his Scolipede to want to come in, or his Zard Y, I'm going to go right for for the Hidden Power Rock. I kind of wish I was Technician at this point, because the Technician Hidden Power Rock would have knocked him out or brought him down to his Sash, whichever one he had. But it's totally fine. He's going to go for the Mega Horn. I am able to take that hit. And here, I really wish, actually I'm not entirely sure if I ran Pursuit on this, and even if I did, it didn't matter because he had Baton Pass. But here, I just go for the Will-O-Wisp. Even if he sends in Sylveon, which he does, I'll be able to burn that thing, which is totally fine. If we went Zard, I do have a safe switch into Latias. So here, I'm going to switch out into my Talonflame, can take any hit from this thing as he goes right for the Heal Bell, and I'm just going to fire off a Brave Bird, get some nice damage onto this thing. He goes for another Protect, Scout what I want to go for, and he does not want to stay in, because if I am Banded, I 2 KO this thing. I'm not, I'm Sharp Beak, but I could possibly 2 KO him anyway. Predicting the switch out into Tyranitar, I'm going to go for the Will-O-Wisp, because I know he's going to switch it out, and I am able to burn the Tyranitar. Even if he's Banded with a Pursuit, I will be able to survive it, which is really nice, so I am just going to switch out back into my Spiritomb at this point, as he decides to get up his Stealth Rock, which is totally fine. Well, not necessarily totally fine by me, but I do have very good hazard removal in my Mega Blastoise, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. So here, he's going to send out his Scolipede as I pull a double switch out into Roserade, expecting not this to want to come in. I believe I was expecting the Sylveon to want to hard switch in, but unfortunately he sends out his Scolipede, so I am forced out back into Spiritomb, as he goes right for the Mega Horn, which will not be able to knock me out with the Sand in combination with the Mega Horn damage. But I believe here I make a mistake. Yeah, I went for the Pursuit, which is stupid for multiple reasons, because A, he can just Baton Pass, and B, he can just knock me out. But regardless, I'm just going to send out my Mammothline here. I debated going for Earthquake, predicting the Suicune, but I didn't think he'd want to save his Scolipede, and I was correct, as I am able to knock him out with the Ice Shard, which is good for me. Now he's going to send out his Zard, and I should have predicted this play. He's going to have Dragon Pulse. He knows I have a Latias, but I hard switch into my Latias anyway, as he's able to connect and be able to, and he will be able to 2 KO me despite my bulk investment, and there's really nothing I can switch into this thing. There's nothing I can switch into this thing comfortably, which is very unfortunate, but here, I'm pretty much forced out into my Talonflame to get Brave Bird damage off onto this thing, so I can knock it out with Ice Shard on the following turn. So that's exactly what I do. I just go for the Brave Bird, as he actually knocks me out with a Rock Slide, which is pretty cool to see. But now, at least, I can go out into my Mammothline and just click Ice Shard. I was kind of surprised. Oh, no, he does save this thing. So he does save that, because it knocks out 2 of the 3 last remaining members, and I predict that. Oh my god, I was good in this game. Holy shit. Sorry, again, I don't remember exactly what happened, but I guess I predicted him to switch out and save his Zard Y, so he set up Rock so he couldn't switch back in unless he spun with Excadrill. But now it's still not looking great, because Suicune is just a problem to my team. Here I'm forced out into Mammothline, so I hard switch back out into Roserade as he goes right for the Surf. Over Scald for whatever reason, but I'm able to take that, and then I can just go for a safe Giga Drain and hurts pretty much everything on his team, as he is going to stack his Zard, which is great. Here he's going to send in the Sylveon. I need my Roserade in order to win, so I'm going to hard switch out and sack my Mammothline. It's not doing a ton for the rest of this game, but he actually just goes for the Heal Bell in order to get rid of the burn on his Tyranitar, which I am totally fine with. Here he's going to Protect to get himself back to a little bit. Well, he's going to get a little bit of Leftovers recovery as I Earthquake. I'm once again going to go for the Earthquake, which nearly kills him, which I was amazed about. So this must have been a fully specially defense, or a nearly fully specially defensive Sylveon, or just like max HP, max special attack, or something like that. But regardless, I can go out into my Roserade and just go for the Giga Drain and knock him out. Get myself a little bit healthier as well. It doesn't look like I can win this game, but if I can, it's going to be with my Roserade here. He sends out his Tyranitar, and then pulls a double into his Excadrill, which I thought was really kind of weird. Like, he didn't really have a great reason to do that. He could have just stacked off his Tyranitar, but he reveals to actually be an Assault Vest Excadrill, I believe, because that Miracle Seed Giga Drain did absolutely nothing. But it doesn't matter, because I'm gonna just sack my Roserade, because I can't switch in my Blastoise, and he is just going to go for an Earthquake, bring me down to 43, and I will be able to knock out the Excadrill, but now, unless I flinch the Suicune to death with Dark Pulse, I will not be able to win this game. So, he's going to send out his Suicune, has the pressure, of course. I'm just going to go for the Dark Pulse, do a nice chunk of damage. If I get the flinch, we might be able to win this. He goes for Toxic. Still, if I get the flinch on this turn, I may be able to actually win this game, because I do have Aura Sphere for the Tyranitar, so I'm going to go for the Dark Pulse. Do I get the flinch? No, we do not, and he's able to rest back up to full. And at this point, it's game over. I believe I die to Toxic on the next turn, and I'm just going to fire off a Dark Pulse, because why not? He is just going to stay asleep. That doesn't reveal Sleep Talk, and then I'm going to go down. So that was kind of a sloppy commentary, I admit. Once again, this battle was a while ago, I don't remember exactly what happened. But that was a good game. I feel like I did play very, very well. Maybe, I guess, playing a little bit more aggressively with the Zard Y could have been helpful, like switching something else in on the Dragon Pulse, but again, there's nothing on my team that wanted to take that hit. Absolutely nothing on my team just wanted to take that hit, so I couldn't really see anything else I can do. I feel like I played the best that I could in that game, and it just didn't work out because of the team matchup, as well as Turbo plays playing his team very, very well. But with that being said, let us now move on to the next game. So we're starting off 0-1 in our pool, but now we have a game versus Kingicle. I decided to bring Klefki this game over Spiritomb. Hazard Stack was a big win condition for me because he has a very, very bulky team. He has a Cleric, he has multiple Clerics actually. He has Wish Pass, so being able to wear things down with hazards is going to be very important to me this game. And as you can see, as I kind of just mentioned, he has Mega Pinsir, and then Fat. So this might be a little bit of a longer game, I'm thinking at least, but I do have very good offense, and I have the offensive capabilities to possibly break through it. Mammoth Line, 2 KOs, everything bar the Skarmory, and maybe Grand Bull after Intimidate, and maybe Umbreon because it's an Umbreon. Mega Blastoise is going to be huge. The combination of Scald, Dark Pulse, and Aura Sphere is going to be huge versus this team. Technician, Hidden Power, Fire, Roserade does so much damage to his team. So yeah, let's just get into the game. Actually, for a little bit of a team breakdown, I am a Choice Banded Talonflame. I am Sash Lead Endeavor Mammothline, just because, like I said, rocks are going to be important and I want to be able to keep up my hazards. We are, once again, Standard Mega Blastoise. We are Specially Defensive, or maybe even Physically Defensive. We are Bulky, Spike Stacking Klefki. We are actually a Specs Trick Latias. That was because, like I said, he had a lot of bulk. Tricking anything would have been really nice on his team, and dropping Specs Dracos, or Specs Psychic, Specs T-Bolts, whatever, would be very nice depending on what mon was in front of me. And then we have our Life Orb, Offensive, Technician, Hidden Power, Fire, Roserade. So let's get into this game versus Kingicle, I believe representing the IACL, IAB, whatever it's called. I apologize, but we're going to lead with our Mammoth Line. He leads with the Lantern. I'm going to force him out, and as I go for my Stealth Rocks, which is very, very nice, as he sends out his Skarmory, I'm just going to hard switch into my Blastoise. I can take whatever he wants to go for. If he sets up his own hazards, I can spin him away. As he actually just ends up going for the Toxic, which is a little bit unfortunate, but not the worst thing in the world. He's going to send in his Lantern as I predict some sort of switch out and go for the Aura Sphere, and that does so much damage. I know this is definitely an offensive Lantern, so I don't want to stay in because he's offensive, he can outspeed me. I'm going to hard switch out into my Mammoth Line, predicting the Volt Switch, and even if he did go for the Scald there, I was fine with losing my Mammoth Line because, like I said, this thing's main job is to get rocks up. But I do predict that right, goes for the Volt Switch, and I am able to take it. Here, I'm going to predict the switch out into his Skarmory as I go out into my Roserade, and Life Orb, Hidden Power, Fire will be able to knock this thing out if he's physically defensive, which I expect him to be from my Mammoth Line. So I'm just going to go right for the Hidden Power Fire, and as you can see, he sends in his Umbreon, which takes very little from that attack. And now I'm going to go for the Sludge Bomb, weaken him a bit more, possibly snag a poison, still not doing a lot of damage, as he's just able to wish back up. So I realize this is a losing battle for me. I'm going to actually just set up my Toxic Spikes, because he can't really do a lot back to me, bar Foul Play, and I will be able to get a layer T Spikes up, which is really nice for his team, pressuring a lot of his mobs. Here, I'm going to send out my Klefki, because even though I can't necessarily beat this thing, I can Hazard Stack the shit out of him. But here, predicting him to want to go back out into his Skarmory, I'm going to double back into my Mega Blastoise, as he actually pulls the switch into Reuniclus, which is also very okay for me, because I get a pretty free Dark Pulse here, as nothing really wants to switch into this thing, as he actually ends up stacking his Lantern, which is very, very nice. That's one of my Talonflame checks gone, so that's really, very nice. Here, he's going to send in his Umbreon, as I just go for the Aura Sphere, get some very nice damage off onto this thing. Still not a ton, because Umbreon is incredibly bulky, but he is now forced to Wish, and then expecting him to want to protect on the following turn, I am going to switch out into my Klefki, once again, just to pressure him with the with my Fairy Stab, of course, threaten him with the fact that he can't touch me, threaten him with the spikes that I can get up, and that's exactly what I decide to go for at this point. I believe at this point I decide, okay, I want to start Spike Stack. No, I go for Dazzling Gleam. I forget why I went for Dazzling Gleam exactly, once again, long time ago, but I did go for Dazzling Gleam, but now that he's in the Skarmory, I go out into my Talonflame to pressure him, as he just goes for the Defog, which is okay. All of my mons are alive, I can set my hazards back up, and this is the thing that he does not have switch-ins to. He's going to go into his Grand Bull, which still takes a ton of damage from this Flare Blitz. It's going to do 40%, meaning that he cannot switch this thing back into my Talonflame once again. And now, I can just send out my Klefki on whatever he wants to do as he decides to Thunder Wave me, which is totally fine. I'm relatively slow anyway, I have Prankster and whatnot. As long as I don't get full power too many times, we are okay. Here, I set up a layer of spikes just to pressure things that want to switch in, and I'm going to reveal the Metal Sound. Unfortunately, get out of here, Jesus Christ. Unfortunately, I'm going to end up missing as he goes for the Shadow Ball, but it's okay. If you're not aware with... I'm going to set up another layer of spikes, because as long as I can land a Metal Sound eventually, we are totally fine. If you're not aware of Metal Sound, it lowers your opponent's Spadef by 2. So as you can see there, he gets up 2 Calm Minds, but he's back to neutral Spadef. I tacked Metal Sound on there specifically for this Pokemon, and I could even beat things like Skarmory 1v1, I can beat Umbreon 1v1. As you can see here, he gets the Shadow Ball, gets the Spadef drop. I get 1 Metal Sound off as he's able to go for another Calm Mind. I don't need another Metal Sound drop here. He's in range of Dark Pulse anyway, so I'm going to set up my 3rd layer of spikes as he actually crits me with Shadow Ball, which is not bad for me, actually, because I did want to switch out anyway, and I didn't need my Klefki, so I'm just going to switch out into my Mega Blastoise, fire off a Dark Pulse, and essentially get a kill, because nothing can really switch into this thing. He sends out his Umbreon, which will die to the combination of Poison plus the Dark Pulse plus the Aura Sphere damage. He's going to Protect just to get a little bit more toxic damage racked up onto me, but I'm totally fine with allowing my Blastoise to get weakened if I can get rid of this Umbreon, because it is a very big nuisance to my team. But now it is gone, his Wish Passer is dead, so all of his Mons will be, unless they have immediate recovery, will be getting worn down easily. He's going to send in his Mega Pinsir here. I can't really switch anything into this thing, and I can't afford to let him set up, so I'm just going to let him knock me out with the return. Blastoise wasn't doing too much else anyway at the amount of HP it was at, and now I can send in my Talonflame. And I go right for the Flare Blitz in case he decided to predict the Brave Bird and go out into Skarmory, but I will be able to go for the Flare Blitz and to a KO this Granbull at this point. Like I said, the hazards are really pressuring him. He was already weakened earlier on, so this is just very nice for me. 2 Flare Blitzes will be able to knock him out, but now he can send out his Reuniclus once again. And now I'm going to hard switch into my Latias. I know if he starts setting up, that's a very big problem for me, and I do have the trick, and even though I'll be giving him a Choice Specs, it'll at least prevent him from setting up further. So I'm going to take his leftovers, give him a Choice Specs. He's now locked into Shadow Ball, and now what I will be able to do is just weaken him with the Draco Meteor. Not get a ton of damage off because he's at +1 and I don't have my specs anymore, but we will be able to get some nice chip damage off onto him for later on. So what I'm going to do now is send out my Mammoth as he actually saves his Reuniclus, as I believe I just go for my rocks here to pressure that Mega Pinsir. I also had Endeavor, so whatever, if he hit me with a Shadow Ball, he weakened me, I Endeavor him, put him in range of my Talonflame. But as you can see here, he's going to send out Skarmory. Actually goes for the Toxic as I switch in my Roserade, which is great for me, because now I can fire off a Hidden Power Fire and 2 KO something as he decides now that he wants to stack off his Reuniclus, which I am totally fine with. So I'm going to go for 2 Hidden Power Fires, which will be able to knock out this Reuniclus. And now he is forced out into his Mega Pinsir. And as you can see here, okay, my play here was Mammoth because I can live 2 quick attacks, and he actually only has the Feint, which means I can live 2 of those, and then knock out his Mega Pinsir with an Ice Shard. If he switched out into Skarmory there, I went out into my Roserade. If he Brave Birded to knock me out, then I go Talonflame, click Flare Blitz, and knock him out, and then Pinsir comes back into Rocks. If he defogged there, then I just clicked Hidden Power Fire and got a kill, and then came in with Talonflame versus the Mega Pinsir, click Brave Bird, and won that. So, and also something I just want to explain here for a little bit, because I'm having kind of like a sudden memory burst, if you want to call it. The last plays there, going for Rocks there, I was kind of just trying to put him in checkmate, to the point where I could eliminate any 50-50s that I had to make versus him. I forced him into a spot where I could win 100% of the time, no matter what he did. I didn't want to risk anything going wrong for me, and I took a long time to make that play, just because I could have stayed in with Roserade, sacked it, got Mammoth line, but then if I'm in Mammoth line, and he goes Skarmory, I go for Icicle Crash. It's not a guaranteed win for me. So I just decided to make that play of the Stealth Rocks, and I think it definitely benefited me. So here, I'm just going to go for the Endeavor, weaken off his Skarmory a little bit, not that it necessarily matters at this point. He's going to knock me out with Brave Bird, he knows he can't win at this point, and now I'm just going to send out my Roserade and knock him out with the Technician, Life Orb, Hidden Power Fire, and that we are going to win Game 2 versus Kingicle. That was a very good game as well. That was definitely a lot of fun to play. Like I said, he had a very bulky team, but we were able to beat it with Hazard Stack, with pressuring him with Roserade, Talonflame, my offensive threats just being able to overpower him, which is really, really nice. So I feel like, I feel like I played that game very well as well, and we were able to get a win to show for it. But now we are moving on to the last game of our pool. We only ended up getting 3 games, and the top 2 from each pool get to move on to bracket play. So now let us move on to round 3 of the Summer Madness Tournament pool play. Against a familiar face, we are going up against Travis RM, otherwise known as Ruby Marrow, someone we have played a couple times before in the PPL. Both times we have come out victorious, but of course this is not PPL, this is a little bit of a different format. Also, something I want to mention, his team had absolutely no flying resists. Like, even the other 2 mons he didn't bring, and I forget what they were not flying resists, and Talonflame just ripped through his entire team. Banded, 2-KO'd, or O-KO'd everything on his team. So I was absolutely planning on bringing that. We have our choice banded Talonflame, we have a physically defensive Pursuit Trapping Spiritomb, we have, I believe, a somewhat bulky, speedy, Rocky Helmet Latias, meant to kind of take on Victini and Mega Lopunny, as well as checking things like Superior and Starmie, and also had Ice Beam for the Gliscor, so that's a very threatening mon versus his team. We had an offensive Mega Blastoise with, I believe, Flash Cannon to hit the Aromatisse. I might have had Hydro Pump. No, I think I had Flash Cannon and Hydro... No, I think I had Flash Cannon on this one. So it was like Scald, Dark Pulse, Flash Cannon... Maybe I did. I don't remember. Actually, I can look it up right now. Let's see. Oh yeah, I had Hydro Pump, Dark Pulse, and Aura Sphere, and Rapid Spin. So there's that. Whoop. Okay. And then we had I believe that is this is a Scarf Mammothline with Icicle Spear. Icicle Spear in case anything had a Yachi Berry, also in case like Superior was a Sub Superior, I can hit that, break the sub, and then continue to hit it after its sub is broken. And then we had a Spike Stacking Klefki with, I think, 2 attacks, like Foul Play and Flash Cannon, and then it didn't have Thunder Wave. But regardless, that is the team that I am bringing. He, of course, has Victini, Gliscor, Megalop, Aromatisse, Superior, Starmie, so very fast and threatening, powerful team that he has, but I feel like my team matches up decently, especially with the team that I had built. So we're going to start it off. He's going to lead with his Gliscor, as I lead with my Spiritomb. I'm just going to go for the Will-O-Wisp. I know he could possibly Protect, but I want to just go for the Will-O-Wisp, burn a potential switch-in, or force him to go for Protect. So as you can see here, I am able to burn the incoming Aromatisse, and now I'm going to pull a switch out into my Klefki, as he pulls a double into Victini. Very good play on his part. But now he is going to pull another switch out into his Gliscor as I hard switch into my Latias. Not sure who he was predicting on that turn, but it is now Gliscor versus Latias. He actually outspeeds my Latias, but it doesn't matter because I'm able to knock him out with the Ice Beam on the following turn. So he had a lot of speed on that Gliscor in order to outspeed my somewhat bulky Latias. But we get rid of Gliscor, which is great. That was only the kind of thing that could switch into Talonflame. Like, he was fully physically offensive with Toxic Orb. He might have been able to take 2 Banded Brave Birds, but that is gone now, which is really nice. But I do have to get rid of these rocks in order for Talonflame to do its job. So here, I'm going to send out my Spiritomb as he actually goes for the Dazzling Gleam. I was predicting an Ice Beam. He had Dazzle, makes sense, hits both of them. And here, it was a 50-50 Sucker Punch Pursuit game. I get that wrong, go for Pursuit as he stays in and knocks me out with Scald. It happens, not a big deal. Now, because his Rocker's dead, my biggest concern is just spin with Blastoise. I don't care if he kills my Blastoise, I don't care what he does to Blastoise. Just get rid of these rocks so that Talonflame can fuck his world. So, going to be able to Rapid Spin as he goes through the Psyshock. It was a roll to kill me, the next Psyshock, but he actually overpredicts and goes for the Scald, which means that I will be able to knock out his Starmie on the next turn. He does get the burn, which doesn't really matter that much because Blastoise is not doing much anyway, but as you can see here, he sends out his Superior. I can still save my Blastoise as fodder, or if Victini gets the -1 speed, I can still get a hit off onto it, so I go out into my Klefki. I know it can take any hit anyway. As he goes for the Leaf Storm, which of course Klefki is able to tank, and fearing the Thunder Wave, he is going to switch out into his Lopunny, which I believe was Limber at the time, because it did not Mega Evolve, but as you can see here, I just fire off a Flash Cannon to get damage off. He Megas up now and goes for the Fake Out, which I'm totally fine with. I will be able to take that very easily, and I'm going to have some leftovers recovery getting me back. He does not want to get Thunder Wave now, so he's going to hard switch out into his Aromatisse as I just set up a layer of spikes, which is very nice. This spike allows Talonflame to not necessarily OHKO everything on his team, but the more I spike stack, the more his team will be pressured to the point where a Banded Talonflame can just clean rip through his team. And you know, he can't continuously switch in a Lopunny to get fake outs off because spikes are up. See here, he's going to pass the Wish off to Victini, but I'm totally okay with this. I do have a stack, a Death Fodder in the form of Mega Blastoise, which will go down to the blue flare, but now what I will be able to do is just send out my Latias, can take anything this thing wants to go for. I have no reason to overpredict. I'm just going to fire off a Dragon Pulse, and as you're going to see, obviously the Aromatisse comes in and I'm unable to touch it. But here I can just follow up with the Psychic. I don't care, once again, I don't care what he does. If he attacks, I live, even though I know he's going for Wish. So he's going to throw up a Wish. And now I'm going to pull a switch out into my Klefki, expecting him to either protect or pass it off to something. He ends up passing it to his Victini once again, as he's getting that back to full health. So he's doing a pretty good job with that, but not the biggest deal in the world here. That wasn't an overprediction. I didn't need Klefki for anything else at this point. Talonflame absolutely buttfucks his team in combination with Scarf Mammothswine and Bulky Latias. They just beat the remainder of his team. Aromatisse dies with Spikes. Bulky Latias beats both Victini. It beats everything else on his team, actually. It beats Victini, it beats Mega Lopunny, and it beats the Superior. Talonflame can just Brave Bird and kill everything. Scarf Mammothswine can possibly pick something off later on if I screw up somehow, so... in fact, actually, I can kind of just click Earthquake at this point. Like, the only thing that can take a hit from it is the Superior, and that's if I'm not locked into an Ice move. So, as you're going to see here, I stack my Klefki, and I'm going to go out into my Latias in the following turn. I know he's going to stack his Aromatisse. I don't care. Nothing else I need to do. I'm just going to keep my Latias then. As you're going to see here, going to fire off a Dragon Pulse, doesn't hit anything. He's going to send in his Victini here and just go for the U-turn. Like I said, I have some bulk investment on this thing and the Rocky Helmet, so that chip damage is going to be very nice. He's 100% in range of Brave Bird now. He's going to send out Lopunny on the Dragon Pulse, is able to survive. However, I will be able to live this return. He is going to die to Rocky Helmet, and because I knew he was going to die to Rocky Helmet, I just went for the Roost, and I'm able to bring myself to even healthier than before the return. Now he's going to send out his Superior and go right for the Dragon Pulse, which does laughable damage. Like, I'm easily able to tank that, and I go for the Ice Beam. And here, I make a really stupid play. Not that it would have mattered, but I'm like, okay, I don't know how much I need to win by, but I need to save differential. I'm going to go out into Victini, so I can take this thing's Dragon Pulse. I'm going to go out into Talonflame, take the Dragon Pulse, and then knock him out with 2 Brave Birds, because if I left my Latias in and killed this Superior, he could then send in Victini and clicked something along the lines of like Blue Flare or something, and possibly gotten a kill. Again, it was just a stupid play, and I was like, I need to save differential, make this play, even though it almost cost me differential. And then he's going to predict that and go for the Hidden Power Rock, which thankfully I'm able to survive because Superior is incredibly weak, especially without a Life Orb. He ended up being Cobra Berry, kind of suspected, but doesn't matter at that point. But now Talonflame can just click Brave Bird twice and knock out the Superior and knock out the Victini in the following turn. And we didn't end up sacrificing differential. We won this game 3-0, which was really cool. This was good enough to get out of pool play, and we made it into the brackets. Now, quick spoiler alert for the bracket play. In case you're uninterested to hear it, I guess, you know, just click out of the video. But we ended up playing one bracket match, and we ended up losing. And I'm not going to commentate that match, not because I lost, like I've uploaded losses before, obviously, but it was an incredibly long stall game, and I have nothing against stall personally. The person I ended up playing was a fan of mine, and he was very, very nice. Even after the match, he was like, I'm sorry I did this to you, I thought it was the best way to win, and that's totally fine. He felt that stall was the best play style in order to beat me, and it totally worked out. But it was just a very, very long game. Nothing really exciting happened. I got hacked a little bit as well. But if you do want to watch that match, for whatever reason, I will be leaving the replay code in the description below. It was versus TCMTL. I'm not sure what league he was representing. Actually, I think he was part of the Open Division, because that's how that worked. But regardless, this was definitely improvement over the last tournament that TTM ended up hosting. Last time was March Madness, in which I didn't even upload my games because I didn't feel like they were necessarily that good. I went 1-3. And my one win was against Skyrander, and I brought Thunder Rotom Heat, and that was kind of cool, but I just didn't upload any of the games. But yeah, these games, I felt like I improved a bit. I feel like my team was definitely a lot better than the team I had then. A lot better. I really love this team. Like, this team was so fun to use. But anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Check out the replay code in the link if you want to see the match between me and TCMTL, and just have a nice day, everyone.